The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Hello there, and welcome to Sunset City, the podcast for the modern classic age. With me today is Nick, as well as whatever that's supposed to be over there, Suris.
What? Hi.
And he who has been to hell and back, Wayne.
Where's my check?
So how are we doing today, guys?
Well, we're trying to get Wayne his check, but it got left on like the 7th level or something, I think.
All right, well, I still haven't received a single penny of the revenue either. So, like, where's the money, Suris? Come on, cough it up.
I think no. Wayne was supposed to get a check for being in hell, and this is a different project entirely. You see, there was a deal made with Satan that involved a lot of things we can't say on the podcast, and it's how he got out of there. But here we are.
I thought the exchange was Wayne goes to hell in exchange for giving you voluptuous breasts.
No, I got those of my own accord. That was a different deal with the devil.
Nah, he already paid the titty tax.
How is it going, everybody? Also, Jamal, as always, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. B Theory forever. We will never be able to escape it, pup.
B Theory forever. Isn't that right, Nick? Okay, Jesus, no need to be, like, problematic about it. Christ.
Yeah, that was some real fucking dirty language, Nick. Jesus.
Yeah, man. Come on.
No, we're going to have to censor all of this out.
Yeah, we'd just mute him. There we go.
Jesus. All right, guys. So, I'm sorry, Pup, you were reading the Jamal super chat.
Oh, it's already been read.
I already did that.
Okay. Oh, that's right. God.
So,
okay?
Today's episode's a little catalyst, I guess. We do have a little bit of news to discuss. We've all probably heard about this by now, but we're going to give our thoughts on it. That's the way things work over here. We deliver the news a few days late.
Yep.
So, Idris Elba has been cast as Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So what do we think?
I'm all for it, honestly. Like, okay, so considering I've seen a lot of people on Twitter like get real angry about it and go like, "Oh my god, he's British. We don't want a British Knuckles." Dude can do an American accent. Like,
either way, there's no reason why Knuckles can't have a British accent. To be fair,
I mean, while you're right, there is personal preference, like not wanting a character to have an accent that you're not used to them having. I can understand, while I can understand people being upset about that, just being like, I don't want him to be British. He can do an American accent, and he's done other characters as well. Like, if you've seen Thor Ragnarok, he's Heimdall. If you've seen the Suicide Squad, he's Bloodsport. Like, dude's got pretty good range anyway. Like,
to be fair,
fine.
Bloodsport was basically just his normal accent and voice, but like, and I think same goes for Heimdall. Even he still had a British accent even there.
You ever seen Star Trek Beyond?
Now that I haven't seen, but I want to see it.
Good, more people should watch that. It's one of the best Star Trek movies. Oh my god.
I'll give it a watch.
I'll need to watch it at some point. But yeah, the point is, like, dude has a lot of acting credentials. Especially, he's in Zootopia of all things.
He's quite a get. He's quite a get for this movie.
Yeah, like, he was Chief Bogo in Zootopia.
Who was Chief Bogo?
You know, the horn fella.
He was the ox who was like,
yeah, he was
telling everybody what to do during meetings,
like a chief.
Okay, forgive me. I saw the movie like once. I didn't think much of it. So
also we've got Sonny here with the $2 Canadian $79 saying Idris Elba for Zavok. When I think you actually brought up a good point earlier, Sonny, when you said that most Knuckles voice actors have also voiced an enemy in the series. Like, for example, wasn't it like Dan Green also voiced Mephiles or something?
Yeah, Dan Green did Mephiles.
Yeah, so why you know that there it is. There's you've discovered it. Zavok is in the movie and will be voiced by Idris Elba.
Oh boy. Damn it, no.
The thing is, to be fair though, also, like, if we were to go kind of correctly with the Sonic characters' accents, like, Sonic would have an Australian accent and Knuckles would have a Jamaican accent, like, to be fair. And
I mean, Knuckles was kind of originally cast to have a Jamaican accent years ago, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, wasn't like his whole color palette kind of Jamaican inspired?
Yeah, like his shoes and everything. Like, as people say, he was black coded.
Because he had dreadlocks, he had Rastafarian colors for his shoes. Like, he already was coded for all of that. And I've seen, like, just watching the meltdowns on Twitter about this has been, I would say it's been eye-opening, but it's also just kind of a thing you have to expect. Like, literally, anytime you cast someone in a role, there's always going to be people angry, especially if that person doesn't match what their paradigm is. I've seen people literally screeching, "But Knuckles is white!" on Twitter, and just like,
what?
He's a fucking echidna.
He's a fucking echidna. Stop.
They cannot handle the fact they can't handle the exaggerated swagger of an echidna.
Oh my god!
God damn it! Well, so even when I was a kid, so playing like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, you know what? I don't care. I always kind of saw him as being a little bit more black. I mean, like, just look at the way he was colored in like 2 Battle. Like he had so much more of like a tan look to him, and
he had a darker muzzle.
I don't know. Thought he was fucking cool. Like, it was just let him be black.
And you know,
hang on, hold up. Like, Nick, what are your thoughts on this? Jesus Nick,
fuck,
that word is off bounds, man. Come on.
No, you can't say that on the podcast, dude.
Nick,
we gotta apologize for the Game Apologist here.
So disappointing. Yeah, I thought you were better than this, Nick.
Oh my god. Anyway, so that colorful language aside, I don't know. It's weird watching all of this stuff just like go down, because I get this is kind of part of the Sonic cycle, right? Where, like, no matter what change happens, no matter how good it is, or how much it doesn't affect anything, there's always going to be this giant, public meltdown about stuff where Sonic is concerned. But this specifically, the way in which I've seen it happen is weird. I'm actually probably going to be covering some of it over on my main channel because of the distinctive flavor some of it has taken. But yeah, no, it's really weird because it's something that really doesn't affect anything. Like, what are some of the common complaints we've gotten? Like, we don't some people have said we don't want him to be British. Again, he can do other than British accents. It doesn't matter. Even if he was doing a British accent, who cares? Just have a British Knuckles. Enjoy it. Second, Idris Elba being black. We've had a few people try to scream that Knuckles is white. That's not. He's an
it's not
echidna.
even going to change his design. We've already seen what he looks like anyway. Like it makes no difference whatsoever what nationality he is. You know?
Exactly. Like it
Ethnicity,
doesn't matter whoever you have voicing him. It doesn't matter as long as they do a good job. Like and then one of the last ones that I've seen, and this one to be fair, I've seen more often, and I can kind of understand it a bit more than the others. It's that Idris Elba's old, and they're just like, but he's so old, and like, yeah, I guess I can understand. On the one hand, he's voicing a character who's supposed to be a teenager, right? Like all the Sonic characters, for the most part, are supposed to be some...
I don't understand, no. None of that is a foreign concept. Like, Roger Craig Smith as Sonic is not 15 years old. Like...
Understandable.
My thing with Knuckles was always that, like, again, I was introduced to the character through, like, the adventure games, and but, like, what I got from him was he was this ancient guardian. Like, he seemed and felt older than the rest of the cast to me, because it seemed like his place in that world was just a little different, and he came from, like, a different, a different era, almost.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of that also, to me, he did seem older than the rest of the cast, but also at the same time more naive. Because, like, he was super sheltered. Like, he's just imagine you only existing on an island your entire life. What kind of mentality you're going to have? You're going to have a lot of wisdom when it comes to, like, agricultural stuff, how to grow your own food, how to, like, take care of yourself. You're going to know a lot of that, and you're going to think that someone like Sonic's really naive for not knowing stuff like that. But then when it comes to, like, basic social stuff, you're going to be lost.
Yeah.
Like, canonically, he is, like, 16 or 17, but, like,
So I always wondered
he's
about
an elder
that,
spirit, though. Like, inside, he's wise beyond his years, yet he's also a little bit of a meathead. Like,
okay, so let's, actually, I want to touch on this for a second. Sonic Podcast, we can go off the rails a little bit here, right?
Yeah, usually, but that involves losing one of our lives.
Okay, so question I want to... I hate you. Question I want to ask is, Last Echidna. And he always seems to act like he has no idea where the rest of them are or what their whole deal was. We never saw any of the other Echidna tribes in the games, except for, I guess, Chronicles. But even then, they really didn't explore, like, his history with them to any meaningful degree. And, okay, if he's, like, 17, where, like, there had to have been other Echidnas not that long ago. What happened to them in the short term? Because Perfect Chaos happened a long-ass time ago. Was he in cryo sleep? Or what? Like, did he get sent into the future? Like, what the fuck happened there?
So
it's a mystery.
If we're talking like Sonic Archie comic stuff, cryo sleep was one of the technologies that Dimitri did have access to, if memory serves, and that was one of the ways that they kind of explained that away. That, like, hey, the other echidnas are either in cryo sleep or hiding. I don't remember the exact, like, mechanics that were involved, but, like, that kind of was one of the ideas played around a bit with, because whereas in the adventure games, Knuckles' society is seen to be, like, very, very agrarian, in the comics, it was a lot more, they were like this super hyper technologically advanced society that went into hibernation almost. So that has been kind of explained in other media a little bit, but obviously that's not canon to things now.
If I were Knuckles, I'd resent that. They could have at least, frozen a nice female echidna with him or something that he could breed with. So he could restore the echidna race.
They did, Julie Sue.
Yeah, but I mean in the games, not all that fan.
Oh my god, I forgot that I knew who Julie Sue was.
Every time Knuckles dies, a new Knuckles is created.
So does he breed with Julie Sue or nah?
Pretty sure that there's a...
Wait, no, that's a Ken Penders thing, isn't it?
Yes, so...
Get that out of here.
Which means, of course, he did.
Get that out of here.
But the point...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the point is that, like, that problem has existed, and other writers have looked at that and tried to see, like, okay, how do we write around this really obvious, glaring issue? Because I do agree that's kind of an issue with, like, Knuckles' past that I don't think is going to exist in the movie, to be fair, because the first Sonic movie, you saw a lot of people from Knuckles' tribe attacking Sonic in the first scene.
I was actively cheering in the theater just by the fact that we saw echidnas and that they're assholes.
Yes, which is exactly how they are in the Adventure series. They were they were literally genocidal colonizers. We need the Chaos Emeralds for more power. Why? Who's the threat? We're not going to tell you until BioWare fills in that plot hole later.
Oh god, yeah. It seemed like it was all for conquest and Sonic Adventure, right?
Yes, that's kind of what it was, and then it was plot hole filled a little bit again, like by BioWare during Sonic Chronicles a bit, but that's not canon anymore because of all the weird stuff that happened with that game.
Wait,
legally.
you mean to say that I just fought that fucking 30-minute long Marauder battle yesterday, only for it to not be canon? It doesn't even matter.
Are you
Because
playing Sonic Chronicles right now?
I am.
Oh boy, I gotta be honest. I had that game. I think at launch. I think I pre-ordered it. And I really liked it when I was a kid.
My favorite
same
bit of
here.
it so far has been chopping log for that old man at the start of the game. That's been my favorite.
I'm gonna be honest. As a kid, I really enjoyed that game too because for I've said this on other episodes, and I'll say it again here. My favorite part of the Sonic series for the longest time had been the story. It's why I was invested in the comics as a kid. It's why I loved Sat AM over anything else. It's why the adventure games always had more appeal to me than anything else. Is because it's why 06, like, despite that game being an absolute garbage fest, I've sat down and I've watched like the entirety of 06's cutscenes repeatedly like they're a movie, because as bad and hackneyed as a lot of that stuff is, I like Sonic stories.
Wait, Suris, did you see my Zack Snyder style Sonic 06 trailer?
I have not seen the trailer yet. No, I know you're talking about making it, but I haven't watched it yet.
It proves my point that Sonic 06 is a Zack Snyder film.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Not sure how to feel about that comment, but
like because of a lot of that though, I liked playing Chronicles as a kid, at least the first time around. I never played it a second time. Probably a good reason for that. I'd also already played Elite Beat Agents before playing Sonic Chronicles, so like that also could be one of the reasons why I didn't play through it twice, because I already had better Sonic Chronicles at home. But that story in that game, it wasn't all that bad to me. I didn't mind it. About the only thing that I couldn't stand was the autopilot final boss battle. Like, and then some of the fights felt really grindy. Like, for a game that wanted to be a fast RPG, some fights lasting upwards of 2 minutes in a turn-based style,
yeah,
maybe a bit long for me.
I had one that straight up lasted me 10 minutes yesterday.
It's crazy.
But actually, you know what my favorite thing about it is like the little text box bits where you can pick what Sonic says.
Oh yeah, the BioWare RPG bits.
You can pick like really rude answers for Sonic, and I
he can be a
love that.
real asshole.
I love that.
You know what actually was also because the other half of like Sonic story stuff for me is continuity. You know what's also great? Pup, I'm not going to spoil the ending of Sonic Chronicles, but I will tell you that it picks up at the beginning of Unleashed.
Oh, okay. I thought like I know how it ends, like with like the big cliffhanger with Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, and the cliffhanger has him with his fleet identically to how it is in Sonic Unleashed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is interesting because you know, actually, when I first saw a teaser for like Sonic Forces, I actually legit thought that was the long lost sequel to Chronicles, because
I
it
was
felt
about
like
to mention that. Like they could have had that lead in.
Oh, Jesus! I just noticed your avatar changed. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
It
people are
scared me.
complaining about the other one, so I figured I'd change it to
I could always
the wiki one.
I could always switch to fucking
No.
Bikini Suris.
No, just leave it. Just leave it. This is a PG podcast.
I've already done it once before.
This is a PG podcast, you fucking idiot.
But you know, if you get like at the end of Sonic Chronicles, the fleet that is shown with Eggman there is colored and styled exactly like the fleet that he uses and the ship that he uses at the beginning of Unleashed when he gets his ship pounded in by Sonic. So, like, to me, it always seemed like the reason that Eggman was able to get everything sorted out for that weapon and everything just under Sonic's nose, outside of the reason that he's always able to do that for some reason, was because they were busy over in the other dimension in Sonic Chronicles, and they just came back to Eggman doing all of this because, you know, spoilers, Eggman betrays you in Chronicles. But, you know, I do wish that it had been a better game overall, because I didn't hate the story.
I am with you on that. I wanted to know more about the Marauders and such, but I was legitimately interested in their whole thing. And I do remember liking, oh shoot, what was her name? The one Echidna that kind of like
Shade.
Shade, yeah. She's cool. I liked her. And I understand that the Marauders, and I think her specifically, were kind of part of the instigating factor that led to the whole Ken Penders thing. Which, like, I have always felt a little conflicted on that whole shit show, just because it's just like, I can kind of understand where Ken Penders is coming from, because up to that point, I talk a lot of shit about Ken Penders, mostly because I legitimately am not a big fan of his. But I do want to at least try to be a little bit fair and say he did more for the Echidna history than basically anything else in the franchise had up to that point. So to see something that was kind of springboarding off of that, giving him no credit and no, like, really mention at all, and so much of it coming out so similar, then yeah, I can see where he drew some issues. Then again, there was always the potential for the Sonic franchise to toy with that stuff again, and there's only so much you can do with the base Echidna design. It was always going to look kind of like his stuff, so I still feel like he kind of reacted to it improperly. But it's like, I can see both sides on that whole thing. Chronicles is such an interesting little, like, part of this poor franchise's history.
Yeah.
Also, thanks to Mao for 2,500 Chilean pesos. We don't know much about the movie yet, but it feels amazing to have a Sonic project that looks more promising than anything else. Cynicism is exhausting, and yeah, I feel that way too.
Yeah.
One thing I was gonna say on the Chronicles front is, like, playing it for the first time yesterday. One of my first impressions was it feels quite amateur, though. Like, it feels like an amateur game, like a fan game.
I
Like,
think they had no budget.
The opening cutscene looks like a Newgrounds animation. And then the music. The music.
What
Oh,
music?
it's so bad.
I forgot music in that game. Oh, you mean that stuff that grated on my ears like a cheese slicer? Yeah, that. I
just remember starting with the game, I was like... It's like, what is this?
Which is funny, because as a kid, I liked the composition, but hated the instruments, and then I found out later that it was, like, the one song I liked the most, but wanted to be better, is apparently a remix of a song that already sounds better, so...
No, or basically, there's actually a story behind it, is that basically there was, like, a buyout of BioWare or something. So the person that was originally contracted to make the music, well, their contract wasn't with the new company or whatever. So a lot of the ready-made soundtrack had to be discarded, and basically, I think non-musician developers basically took MIDIs of the original Sonic music, and you can tell a lot of it is classic Sonic music, and basically tried to rework those MIDIs into not sounding exactly like classic remixes.
Yeah.
And you can still tell, and it's ultimately just a mess, and there's, like, zero understanding of music theory in any of it. But there are some remnants, and that's in the battle themes. But I noticed that they're scuffed as fuck. I don't know if that's because they needed to cover it up, or because, maybe the Nintendo hardware struggled with the bitrate or whatever, but still.
The Nintendo hardware wouldn't have struggled with the bitrate there, because Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver exist. And those games have brilliant use of the DS's sound chip. And it
true, but I think
amazing.
these were like MP3 files that they put onto it. These didn't use the DS sound chip. They weren't like MIDI.
Yeah, they were. If they were MP3 files that were being played through instead of being like, instead of being played through the sound chip itself, and yeah, I can understand that sounding awkward. But even if they're sounding awkward because of that, as a developer, when you're playing the game on your hardware dev kit, and you hear how everything sounds, there's got to be a moment. At least one moment where you go, "Hey guys, this doesn't feel right. Why doesn't this feel right?"
It's even if you compare it to something like something that had not quite the budget of Pokemon release, and was released around the launch of the DS. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lost in Blue.
I have heard of Lost in Blue. I haven't played it, but I have heard of it.
Isn't that SpongeBob fan film from Russia?
No.
There have now been 4 meetings because of Channel Pup.
It's part of a Konami series that's actually referred to as Survival Kids over in Japan. Started as a Game Boy Color title. It's getting kind of expensive over here. Sorry. But yeah, no. That was around the launch period of the original DS, and God, just the opening title theme sounds so much better than anything in Sonic Chronicles. And it kind of goes to shows that with minimal budget on a release, it's something that was released towards the beginning of this hardware's life cycle, where people weren't really accustomed to it. Nobody had really had the time to develop with it before. So even with lack of experience, it still sounded better. It just kind of goes to show that, the music in Sonic Chronicles is just a complete failure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, the thing is, it's not even just that I think has an amateur quality to it either. It's also, like, the character models here. Like, this came after Sonic Rush, and they just look unsightly. Like,
you know what they should have done? Is just get the models from, like, Sonic Shuffle.
The thing is, I don't know what they did and didn't have access to, because it's like, part of me thinks they may not have just used the Sonic model from, like, Rush. But then again, that's a Dimps production. Dimps probably had those models, and it's like, maybe you can't exactly go get them from there it is. The one and only Danky says that's SpongeBob Beyond Pup. It was called SpongeBob Beyond the Tale of Blue.
Beyond. Oh, hey, I'll be right back.
It's a really fascinating series.
There was a thing in the marketing for Sonic Chronicles that really got to me. And I guess when we get to the point where we're talking about Chronicles as like a full-on episode, we'll expound on this a little more. But one of the things that really got to me was, I don't know if you paid attention to any of the like magazine marketing for the game when it hadn't come out yet.
No, I know nothing about it. Like all I know about Sonic Chronicles is that my pink friend Joey was desperate for me to play this game. Like I'd heard that it was an RPG. I wasn't all that interested because I'm not really into that kind of stuff, especially with Sonic. I just want to go fast. So I basically bought a bunch of DS Sonic games, and he was constantly begging me to play Sonic Chronicles because it's one of his favorites. And basically, we struck up a deal. He's basically going to give me a present in exchange for me doing a review of Sonic Chronicles. So, like,
oh my! So you're being paid off by the elites, are you?
He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine. As I say, he's my pink friend.
He's
Joey.
friendly with the elites, everyone. No, but in the marketing for Sonic Chronicles, there was this really big push to talk about how they had hand-drawn overworlds. And when you're playing Sonic Chronicles, the overworld areas don't look horrible, but they're obviously 2D, right? Like they don't look 3D. They don't look modeled. They're 3D the way that original Resident Evil was 3D. We've given you a still picture and you're moving across the still picture. And in the marketing, they pushed for it so hard, saying, no. We have this whole like handcrafted world, and it's going to be so wonderful and beautiful. And then when you actually sit down and play Chronicles, you're like, the artwork may be okay, but with this really janky ass Sonic low poly model on it, not even a good looking low poly model running across it, it just doesn't look good anymore. It just
Can I just say
doesn't.
though, the box art for this game is
Oh, the
phenomenal.
box art is fantastic.
It has
Are we
such a
still talking
unique
about
aura
Chronicles?
to it.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when I see that, I think, oh man, we're in for something special here. And then you load up the game, it's like,
Oh no.
okay. It's not like the box art then.
This is why when I had my like ideal Sonic game thing, I was like, you know what? I want another Sonic RPG, but I'd like it as a Paper Mario game, please. Not like Baby's first Elite Beat Agents game, which is what Sonic Chronicles was.
I mean, also like having to control Sonic with the touch screen on the overworlds as well. It's like, let me use the
Yeah.
D-pad. Let me press jump to jump. You know,
Dude, trying to move around a 3D environment with a D-pad is the worst fucking Metroid Other M.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say there are so few DS games that really use that stylus in a way that I loved. When I think of moving around with a stylus, the only game I can think of where I actively enjoyed that was probably the Ninja Gaiden game on the DS.
I didn't mind Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. I thought they handled it pretty well.
Because those are top-down Zeldas, though, I still would have rathered playing those with the D-pad.
That's fair. Hey, the option would have been nice.
Yes, that's getting decently far off topic, but yeah, Chronicles is
You
a
good?
tangent.
Serious?
No, I'm dead. Why did everything break?
Oh man, sorry. You kind of like zoned out there for a second.
That was weird. I guess okay, so Discord is weird sometimes, and I am sorry.
It's all good. We know you personally program Discord.
Yes, I am actually the facilitator of all of your bad Discord bandwidth problems. It's all my fault, actually. In reality, you can blame me. And I mean, like, even if you don't believe me, blame me anyway. It's cathartic. But
Learning new things about you, Suris.
but I guess if we were to pull things back to the Sonic movie, now that we've gone on our chronicle about Sonic Chronicles, which we'll get into again when we actually do our Sonic Chronicles episode on the show. But going back to the movie, I'm curious what you guys think. So we know that Idris Elba's Knuckles. That's cool. We've already had our whole conversation about that. How do you think this is going to be portrayed here? Because on the one hand, they might go the route of just having Angel Island be a part of the world there, and Knuckles is just there. Or they might actually explore that Echidna tribe that they showed in the first movie, and Knuckles is like sort of a harbinger or an ambassador for them, trying to like let everybody know, no, we're here to steal Sonic's rings or some shit. Like, how do you think they're gonna go about it?
I think they lit into it in a pretty simple way with the ending of the first film, where we see I don't know why everybody thought that the area he was in was a reference to the Mushroom Kingdom. It's fucking Mushroom Hill. Like they're gonna go with the
It's the most
Sonic
gross version of Mushroom Hill.
Yeah, and Mushroom Hill is the same place where we saw where Knuckles actually keeps the Master Emerald.
And
I
that's
think
the point, actually. Hold up. Dr. Robotnik is working with Knuckles in this movie. That's confirmed.
And
What if
Mushroom
Dr.
Hill
Robotnik...
is on Angel Island.
What if
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Robotnik
that's what I'm
met-
talking about.
Yeah, but it's a mushroom planet, though. That's one thing. So I don't think it's going to be like that. But
Well, all he knows is that there's mushrooms there. Sonic never established that he has an entire understanding of that whole location. I like to think that while he thinks it's a mushroom planet, it's really just a particular area on Angel Island. Or, if we want to get really, really crazy with it, what if Angel Island is something of like a hub to a bunch of different little dimensional rifts? And
I've got no idea. I think Angel Island's going to be Hawaii, because that's a shooting location. And we know that Tom and Maddie are going to go on holiday, so that's probably going to factor into that. But I don't think they're going to go so far as Knuckles coming from Angel Island. I think they're just going to do, like, Knuckles is out and about, and that's Robotnik might have met him on the mushroom planet where he keeps the emeralds or whatever. But I mean, like, that said, I think it's only suggested in the synopsis that there's one Chaos Emerald, and they're using that for power. and
I still think that they're actually leading into the chaos arc.
I think they'll lead into it, but I don't. I think for now it's just one.
Yeah.
But like we know that. Yeah, I think it's basically going to be like, oh yeah, Tom and Maddie will be on the computer, like, oh, we're going to go to Angel Island on holiday. It's near Hawaii and stuff, and they'll do that, and that'll be your reference. But Knuckles won't be connected to that. But I am surprised that they are going with Knuckles starting off as a bad guy, which I'm pleased about because obviously it's more accurate. But like,
so my whole thing is that they've already established within the context of these movies that the horrible demonic anthropomorphic animal creatures that are Sonic, Tails, and the gang do not come from Earth. They have exclusively existed outside of it and have been brought there through like supernatural means. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for me to have that already established and to have seen the Echidna tribe in a place that already is not Earth, to have Knuckles just there on Earth because.
Oh
You
no,
know what I mean?
I don't think he's from Earth by any stretch. I think he'll be on the
Just like-
Mushroom Planet.
I think
But like, I don't think he'll live there. I think he'll just be like visiting or something. But
Hmm.
like, I think Angel Island will definitely be on Earth, like they did with Green Hills. Like,
how like Green Hills was a location on Earth.
yeah, like there'll probably be the implied existence of the Angel Island we know from the games in some other world. But like, the one we see in the film will be like a Hawaiian one, like what they did with Green Hill.
We do have a super chat, which is like literally on point with what we're talking about right now, from Black Yakuza 94. What are your guys' respective expectations for the second film based on all the information we have right now? And so I guess if we're talking expectations and less like theories and what we want, my expectations are we're gonna have the first 5 minutes of this film take place on the Mushroom Planet, explaining how Dr. Robotnik gets off the planet and how Knuckles gets on planet, and then we're going to have the rest of the film take place on Earth. We know that there's going to be that vacation thing with Donut Lord and his wife, and they're going to be in Hawaii, and so we know that the majority of the film is probably going to take place there, so we're not going to have like the cityscape that we did in the first film, and I'm actually kind of okay with that. Past that, I'm kind of expecting it to be more of not a fish out of water story for Knuckles, but more of a like an active antagonistic battle between characters in this one, because the first movie was a road trip movie, right? Like the first movie was Euro Trip starring Sonic.
Yeah.
The second one because it seems to be taking place more on a centralized location, I expect there to be more conflicts. But with the setting, I mentioned that there's not going to be as much cityscape action. I realize now that one of the sets we actually saw the Sonic characters in during production was a ruined portion of a city. So never mind, I take that back. I think that at least the final showdown is going to take place in a city again, just like in the first film.
It's Green Hills where they were shooting that.
Because wasn't that their house?
It's going to be downtown Green Hills that gets destroyed.
So I guess they're going to come back from vacation, and Robotnik will have just like wrecked all of Green Hills.
Well, I mean, you know that Sonic is not going with them on the vacation. It's already been confirmed in the plot synopsis that Sonic isn't with them on the vacation.
Gotcha.
How accurate do we know that plot synopsis is?
I don't know, but like I can't remember exactly where it comes from, but basically like I don't know, but anyways, yeah,
I
basically,
feel like that's important to establish.
let's look it up then. At the time it was very pucker, so let's
Well, of
have a
course
look.
it was. Everybody was excited, and they latch onto any bit of information and treat it like it's like, gospel.
And I'm
it
just going to say
basically
this right
came
now.
from like a
Chip
Paramount
Chap,
press release
Nick
kind of
isn't
thing.
dead. He's right here. He's been talking this whole time.
And boy, has he been talking. Some of the things that you've said today, Nick. Good lord.
Yeah. Getting a little bit... Probably going to have the first ever meeting about Nick.
All right, so
later.
it was a leaked copyright filing from Paramount Pictures.
Okay.
Okay, so
Do we
that
know
is
if that's true?
Yes. All right. So, anyways, Look, man, my allergies are acting up. I don't got time for this. But anyways, like,
I don't have time
basically-
to be part of the podcast, everybody.
basically, the synopsis said that like Sonic would be wanting a little more independence, so Tom and Maddie would go on holiday to Hawaii, and basically Sonic is back home. He makes a new friend with Tails, and obviously all hell breaks loose while Tom and Maddie aren't around. So Sonic has to kind of make his own decisions now, embrace his independence alongside Tails, and Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik are working together with the power of the newfound Chaos Emerald.
I have a theory.
Oh, is it a game theory?
I am gonna leave. No, so I actually think that part of Dr. Eggman's whole plot to get so personally I think that with the success of the first film, I don't see any reason why Paramount wouldn't want to really capitalize on that and try to treat this like their new big franchise. I think they're going to go all out here, and I think that there's enough material from the other games to really start getting a whole lot more stuff rolling. I think they're going to kind of pull a Sonic X here, and I think that the way that Eggman gets back is that he doesn't just transport himself from another world over to Earth. I think he's bringing part of that other world with him.
Oh, because Chaos Control is going to be the thing to bring him back.
I think that might be part of it. I think they might tap into the idea that the Chaos Emerald has some form of teleportation capabilities, and that they might mess with that a little bit and kind of establish that as the way that Eggman brings himself over, as well as Angel Island. I think he's going to bring Angel Island from, wherever it resides over to Earth, and then we're going to basically see this infiltration of this whole nother planet, or even in planets plural, over into Earth, and that's how we start introducing other characters. Like, I don't know why the first character I thought it was Big the Cat, but Big the Cat, or Amy Rose, or other characters like that. I think that's initially how they're going to try to get into it. I don't think they're going to get into that immediately. I think it's still going to be the main trio here for this first.
So when you're bringing up all the other characters, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Very important. So at the end of the first Sonic movie, Tails was teased as the character in the next Sonic movie, right?
Yes.
Like that was an end credit scene.
It was great.
Who do you think is going to be teased in this one? Because you know they're going to
hold on to Shadow for later, but then I also wouldn't be surprised if they're going out of order here a little bit.
Maybe Metal Sonic, because I'm going to say this.
If you're gonna bring in Amy, you really should bring Metal Sonic in at the same time.
I don't think that they're going to do anything from the modern era. Like, I don't think they're going to do Shadow full stop.
Oh, I think they'll do Shadow, but they're probably going to wait. Because, again, I honestly think they're going to try to introduce the concept of a Chaos Emerald in the second movie. And then there's going to be this oh shit moment somewhere in the film where Knuckles reveals to Sonic that he has shown Eggman, where these things are and what they can do, and that there's not just one, there's 7 of them. Technically 8 if you want to count the Master Emerald. And then we're going to basically get up to fucking Sonic Infinity War, and there's going to be an entire movie that's all about Dr. Eggman trying to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds and feed them to a gross, weird water monster known as Chaos. I honestly think the more I think about it, I think just from a business standpoint, they could not resist doing the adventure story.
So I agree, and I want that to be a thing, but here's what that's going to rely on. That's going to rely on the Sonic movies plural, not just the first one, movies plural,
right,
making enough money to where they can look at this and go, this is a big franchise, let's throw everything at it. Because that is, especially with video game movies, that's such a hard thing to nail down generally. There's a part of me that honestly wants to believe that the first Sonic movie was a fluke, just so that my hopes don't get up for the second one. But at the same time, what I want is basically what you are describing, because let's be honest, the Sonic Adventure series, both of those games are very cinematic. Like if we're talking about games with settings that could definitely be movies, Adventure 1, 2, Unleashed, and 06 all have that down pat. Easy.
Yeah.
All of those stories could become movies very well because those narratives are told like movie narratives.
Now, if I got to have my way, I would personally, I hope they don't rush into the Sonic Adventure series. I completely think they are going to do that. I would like to see some sort of adaptation, like Pup, you were saying Metal Sonic. I really want to see some kind of adaptation of CD, because like the Sonic OVA alone makes me really want to see more of that material kind of like toyed around with and developed more. I think you can do so much with it, and Metal Sonic is such a great like counterpart to Sonic. It would be so stupid not to try to take advantage of that on film.
See, I just think that for the foreseeable future, they're just going to stick to classic Sonic stuff because of the modern Sonic stigma. Like, and I don't think there should be a modern Sonic stigma, but I think there is one. And I think they're going to avoid that stuff for now until, like, let's say this did explode into, like, a mega franchise. Then I think they'd be like, okay, yeah, let's pick and draw from all kinds of different source material. But I think, like, for at least the first 3 movies, it's going to be just classic Sonic stuff. So Sonic 1 has just Sonic and Robotnik. Sonic 2 brings in Tails and Knuckles. And then Sonic 3 will be like Metal Sonic and Amy, maybe. But like,
I think that's probably where it's going to go right now. But after that, I don't see a reason why they couldn't go into the Adventure series at 4th movie onward.
They
Because
could, but you gotta think, like, film studios will shit themselves at the sign of any kind of stigma. And modern Sonic has stigma.
But Adventure does not have... Adventure era Sonic does not have the stigma that modern Sonic does.
Nor
It's
is
hardly-
it well known enough for them to bother with, though.
I disagree.
Wait, you think that
because
Adventure is not known enough?
It's a bit more niche. It is niche. Like, we're talking to Sonic fans
I
here.
disagree. I disagree for one major reason. It is the most Marvel Studios Sonic has ever been.
It is, but I still think that, like, it's still too niche.
I don't think that the Adventure series is... If anything, modern Sonic is niche compared to the Adventure series in terms of
I would
amount of
say
people who've
talk to a
experienced it.
rando on the streets and ask them about Sonic. They'll say things like Sonic 2. Like, look at the Sonic movie and all of its press release and stuff. People are banging on about Sonic 2, playing it on the Sega Genesis, playing it on the Sega Mega Drive.
Well, yes,
that's the
because
most well-known version of Sonic. I would say that things like Sonic Colors are more well-known than the Adventure series.
Really?
And I'm saying this as someone who's a fan of the Adventure series. Like,
well, yes, I am too. What I'm saying is,
I'm speaking from like a business film production mindset here. I don't think it will test well.
I think you're wrong on that.
I would also argue that even a lot of people, the same people that like Sonic Adventure are going to be the same people that actually give a shit about Sonic the Hedgehog 3. People talk about Sonic 2 all the time, yes. Working as somebody who runs a used game store, and I talk to people who grew up with the Genesis, people will talk about Sonic 2 and Sonic 1. The only people that I ever converse with that ever talk about, and I'm not talking about gaming fans, I'm talking about, you know, people that are like 10 years older than you and me, people that grew up with this stuff, will talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and then immediately start talking about Sonic Adventure, because that is the same fucking thing to them.
Okay, I'm trying to speak from like a business marketing perspective.
As are
well,
we.
that's what I'm talking
that's
about.
like...
I'm saying you just told me ask random people. I do on a daily basis. It's actually my job, and I talk to your random mom and pop that don't know how the industry works, who don't have all of this history behind it. They're not mega fans like you and me. They're just randies, and the only ones that care about Sonic the Hedgehog 3 are going to be the same ones that care about Sonic Adventure.
I'm not so much talking about like Sonic 3 here. I'm just saying Knuckles is a well-known staple of the trilogy anyway. Like Knuckles is well known even if not for Sonic 3. Like that's just, you know, a fact. I'm just saying, I think they're going to be pulling from the more well-known Sonic lore, and I think second they introduce Shadow the Hedgehog, people will start saying, "Oh, is it that one that had a gun that time?" Oh yeah.
I mean, they might do
the
that.
Sonic
but that
fans
is
will
not...
be pleased, but the average Joes will be like, "Okay, this is jump the shark now. We got edgy Sonic." Like, and that's just how it's going to go because they don't understand it in the way that Sonic fans do.
I
They don't.
I really disagree there. So like I agree that there's a stigma on Shadow. Ever since Shadow the Hedgehog, there's been a stigma on Shadow. Like
Yeah.
I agree with that point, but on the point of on the point of adventure carrying the same stigma as modern era Sonic, I don't agree. On the point of adventure era Sonic being less well known than modern era Sonic, I highly disagree. Like, there's not only are those stories in those games crafted in such a way, and I'm not trying to say this to shoot everything down to be a dick, pup. We're conversation.
No, but I'm gonna just pause you right there. Most people
So-
that played those games did not give a shit about the story, nor did they remember it.
I disagree on that one as well. Literally everybody I grew up with that liked Sonic Adventure 2 talked about the story extensively.
I'm talking from a greater marketing perspective, though.
But you said literally everyone.
These movies are made for children. These movies are made for children.
I don't care. I think that's the most.
They're doing what they can to market it to children. Children
so
don't
was
care about
so was
Sonic
Marvel,
Adventure.
and look at how fast they decided to do Infinity War.
Like-
They've been building up to that since the first Avengers film. They knew what was going to market them, and that was
and maybe
yeah.
there is a chance of that happening, but I think we're looking way too far ahead if we're talking about any of that being on the table just yet.
Not if we're talking about Paramount. They don't, because they're. I don't expect Paramount to look at this logically. I expect them to look at this and be like, okay, this is our new Marvel scale franchise. How do we match Marvel?
Honestly, I'm saying this as someone that wants a Sonic Adventure movie adaptation more than anything else.
We all know that.
We all
What
want
I'm-
that, but like I think the chat's gonna get me wrong though. Because
Understand that I'm not saying all of this because I don't think I still firmly believe there's a great possibility that they will not do this at all. I'm just saying that logically I can definitely see it happening, and I think that there's enough in the footprints here to kind of lead us to that end goal.
All I'm saying is whether or not Paramount decides to adapt Adventure, or because bear in mind, adapting Adventure does not necessarily mean adapting that story. It just means taking the characters from that story and using them for their story, like they did with the first Sonic movie, because the Sonic from the first Sonic movie is obviously not the same Sonic we are used to. The Robotnik from that movie is not the Robotnik that we're used to. So when I say adapting those stories, I don't mean taking those stories and adapting them wholesale and just making them in movie form, because I think that's the worst mistake they could do. Because that's a thing, historically, when you do a video game movie and you try to adapt its story wholesale, even if you get it super accurate in every single way, it doesn't always translate one-to-one, because you're not playing through that. That story might not hold up as well on its own. What I'm saying is, at the very least, the characters, maybe not as much Chaos, because Chaos, I will argue, is less well known than someone like Shadow, but a character like Shadow appearing in movie form from a business and marketing perspective prints money. Any stigma around that character is not going to cause people to automatically check out. It's going to generate conversation. It will literally be free word of voice marketing. I don't think that it's a misstep. I don't think it's a mistake. I don't think any stigma around the character creates a problem for the studio. This is all contingent on if the next two films do well. Because the first film did amazingly well. If the second film does amazingly well, and the third film does as well, and whatever the third film ends up being, it will more than likely be a Metal Sonic type thing, because after about 2 defeats, this Jim Carrey's Robotnik getting fed up and just going, fine, I'll just make a Sonic, and it'll be better with blackjack and hookers. Like, that's a...
I think another thing that
to
you
do.
might be getting wrong here is
I don't think
I'm
I've
not
gotten
trying
anything wrong here.
and I'm not trying to imply that Shadow isn't marketable, and I'm not trying to imply that the adventure stories aren't marketable. I don't think Paramount as a film studio is going to believe it's marketable. Do I think it's marketable? Yeah. You push it as an all-new Sonic story. It's absolutely marketable. But I don't think they see it as marketable.
I don't think we know what they see.
We don't know what they see.
yeah.
If we're going by what average film studios are like, how much they omitted from that first Sonic movie, they didn't even let Tails be a regular part of the film. We didn't even have Dr. Robotnik in his classic design for most of it. They rode mostly on the coattails of Jim Carrey. Sonic is, well, he's like Sonic from the games, but he's kind of a very different spin on that character. Like, they do change things. And the fact is, the first time around, they didn't even think that Sonic as a character would be recognizable enough for people to give a shit about how they initially butchered his design. I do not expect this. I didn't expect this studio to fix that design. And I didn't expect the studio to put out a film as good as the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah.
But the point is, I don't see them, having the balls to take on the adventure stuff. I totally would. If you put me in charge of Paramount Pictures, I would immediately say, get a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation out there. I think it would print money. The amount of toys you could sell based on that. And a lot of people are saying things like, yeah, there's Gun in the movie. There's all kinds of references, but they're just little references. The fact is, you could take Gun and slap military on the side of it instead. It's just a quick little fan service in the background. If we're talking characters like Shadow, they're going to be at the forefront of the story. Shadow's not just going to be out there in the background. Maybe there'll be like a screen in one of the gun offices that says Project Shadow on it. Maybe. But like, the thing is, a lot of the stuff that has been more referential to the Sonic series has been entirely in the background.
I think there's a point that needs to be considered, though. That it's a point that I brought up before, but your point, and I hear your point about it's not what you would do, it's what you feel Paramount as a studio would do. My two counters to that. One are obviously the point of non-knowledge. We do not know what Paramount as a studio will do because we are not in those offices.
We don't know, but I'm just trying to think of in the headspace. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but this is what I realistically think.
I want to stress. I'm not trying to jump down your throat because I just want to shed on all your ideas because I do understand.
I'm actually enjoying the back and forth. Normally, we don't have the same kind of like more debatey atmosphere here, so like I'm actually perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, I'm not even just talking about Paramount here, like in specific. I'm talking about any major film studios. If you look at any kind of adaptation, Marvel aside, because Marvel's quite a different matter. Marvel is quite experimental,
even
and
Marvel,
it's an experiment that paid off.
Even Marvel, they've omitted a lot of stuff about certain characters. Like Tony Stark's alcoholism gets completely omitted from his story.
I mean, it's touched upon in Iron Man 2, but like I get what you're saying. They didn't do Devil in a Bottle as such.
Yes.
And like, for example, Thor's character is completely different to who he is in the comics. Like, he's much more clowny in the movie. He's much more play it for laughs. Look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. You'd think they'd never touch the Guardians of the Galaxy. They'd never do that. They wouldn't be marketable. But they did, but it's because they made them marketable.
But
the Guardians of the Galaxy of the MCU is very different to what the Guardians of the Galaxy were before the MCU.
There was a second half of my point that I was trying to get to earlier, though. And the second half there was, do remember that, at least for me, I don't know if this is necessarily what Wayne's point has been, but I know my point has been, them exploring an adventure-style story is contingent on having 2 more very financially successful movies. This one that's coming up right
I agree
now,
with that. Because, as I've said, I don't think it will be until after 3 that we get anything modern Sonic related.
Yeah, because what's gonna happen to me, or what would happen for me were I in the studio shoes is I would say, hey, there's this, we can craft our own stories that, use the characters of the series and they can do things very loosely. But when it comes to like Shadow's story, a lot of that stuff you kind of have to pull over. Like they're obviously introducing GUN at least in some way in the second movie. They're going to have to keep that as part of his story. They're going to have to keep some stuff about the space colony arc. There's a lot of like mechanisms to Shadow's story that you kind of have to keep for him to stay Shadow. So I can see from a company perspective, they would go, we're not going to touch this kind of story, this realm, unless we are guaranteed our dollar. Because they're not going to do an experiment. They're going to look at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they were to do Shadow, as well. I think it would be good for merch sales, which is why I think it would be another thing that Paramount would factor in, which is why I don't rule it out.
Yeah.
They would sell so many Shadow toys. So many. But, like, you know, like, it's one of those things where there's indications it could. As people have said, Gun is seen. And that's a reference that no one was really expecting after the first movie.
Especially
again,
not this early.
Again, Gun could just be interchangeable with the military. It could just be a background detail, like Sonic's little bandana and stuff. Or the same. We don't know how Gun is going to be portrayed.
No, we
They
don't.
might
We
not-
don't know if it's just going to be a surface level thing or if it's going to be like
It
something
means-
that they push in.
As Game Apologist says, hi by the way, Nick.
He's been talking this whole episode. What the fuck are you talking about?
I know. But as he just said just a second ago, he's been asleep for a bit. As he just said a second ago, you know, it means that they are paying some attention to game lore that's outside of the classic series, which is you know, it shows that there's an attention there. But compare Gun to the actual story of Sonic Adventure 2, putting Gun in the movie and having the story of Sonic Adventure 2, or giant hell beasts that Dr. Robotnik's controlling, or Shadow the Hedgehog, they're two very different things.
Yeah.
They're two incredibly different things. I'm just going to say this. I think Shadow would be good for merchandise sales. I don't think they would go the whole hog with his story by any stretch. I don't think they'd do the Maria Robotnik stuff. As a matter of fact, I think that's pretty much ruled out by Dr. Robotnik's explanation of being adopted earlier on in the first one. You could probably do some mental gymnastics to get it over to that point. But I think they are simplifying and reworking these characters for a general audience. And I don't see them going the whole hog with the adventure stuff. Because generally, people that love the adventure games from childhood look back on the adventure games with a lot of fondness. A lot of people laugh at those cutscenes today. A lot of people do those quotes very ironically, and unless they want to capitalize on that ironic factor, I don't think it's going to work. Even just like the fact that Sega themselves have shied away from putting Sonic's friends in proactive roles in the games now.
Now they're all very much side. They're the Goku cheer squad.
Yeah,
point.
exactly. If Sega are too chicken shit to use them, I can't see a giant film studio that's all about making these things as marketable as possible doing it either. Unless they were to tap into their toyetic. You could sell toys of all the Sonic characters. People are more likely going to want, like, a Vector the Crocodile action figure than a Tom Wachowski action figure. Put it that way.
That's fair. When it comes, I guess my main point is in the world where we do have at the very least a trilogy of a trilogy of movies that are all very profitable. At that point, Paramount would say, okay, we can afford to explore some of these stories. But again, I also reiterate my original point. I do not think that when they explore these stories, they're going to explore them in the adventure fashion. I think what they're going to do is they're going to take the characters and superimpose them on their current world with some stuff obviously is going to have to be kept. Like I said, Space Colony arc, yada, yada, yada. Some of that stuff is kind of integral to the original story of some of those characters, but for the most part, I think Paramount will just take the characters and adapt them into their own stories. So the Paramount version of an adventure story is going to be just a story with Tom Wachowski and Sonic and Co. that involves Eggman summoning, or involves Robotnik summoning chaos, but it's not going to necessarily have all of the stuff. I don't think we'd get Gamma's story, for instance, as much as I would like that.
There's not gonna be
That's
Gamma.
the only thing I want, and we will never get it.
I really don't see us getting Gamma's story, because when it comes to that type of movie production, they're gonna have it as a quick, focused. Here's Robotnik. He's got the villain of the week, and Sonic has to deal with it with his friends. And this might be the first time that we get Super Sonic, because if we have 1 Chaos Emerald in the first movie and 7 Chaos Emeralds in the third movie, we might not even see Super Sonic until the fourth one.
I think the thing is, going from Sonic 1 to what we know about Sonic 2, it does seem that they've gained a bit more confidence in the Sonic-y stuff itself.
Yeah.
So I don't rule anything out. I mean, I guess things I would rule out would be things like Mephiles the Dark. That's never going to happen.
They're not going to do Mephiles. They're not going to do the
Rouge. Rouge is never going to appear. Neither is Gamma.
They're not going to do. They're probably not going to do Maria.
Maria
honestly.
Robotnik, not going to happen.
They're not going to do the whole like AIDS storyline.
And
her.
a lot of people are saying like, what would they adapt then for the next movies if they're not doing the class? If if the classics are done, like
they don't have
so
to adapt anything at that.
For
point.
example, as Certified Nobody says, Pup, what are they going to do for a third movie without any modern or adventure influence? They probably won't just adapt the games. It will probably be next one will be like Sonic and his friends in space. Sonic and his friends go to Tehran.
Yeah,
Sonic and his friends.
They're gonna do what Paramount's done with the first movie. They're gonna have the Sonic characters superimposed into a story. Like they're gonna have a Paramount Pictures story with the Sonic characters as the moving parts in that story. And because I think that's one of the reasons why the Sonic movie worked the way it did, is it was a standard run of the mill like again, it was Sonic Does Euro Trip with a boss fight at the end. Like that's what it was, and it worked.
And the next one I think is going to be like Sonic equivalent to Home Alone, except now Sonic's got buddies with him and stuff. Like it's the usual thing of the parents go away, the kids left home, all hell breaks loose.
Can they do Home Alone in the Olive Garden?
And the kid has to solve it all before the parents get home. So basically, Sonic is probably going to have to really clean up after Green Hill before Tom Wachowski and Maddie Wachowski get home. And that's probably going to be the prime focus. The Knuckles stuff, the Chaos Emerald, Dr. Robotnik is probably all going to take a backseat to Sonic and Tails do Home Alone. And then the third one will be another basic motion picture blueprint with Sonic and his friends put into it. And I get a lot of people are saying the anime did this, the comics did this. Those are far more niche and far less focus driven mediums than motion pictures.
Because when it comes to a motion, sorry, one thing, Wayne, and then I'll let you go. Sorry, but when it comes to a movie is a very different medium than an anime or a comic book, because a movie has to tell one story, and it can be an A-B story. But usually unfocusing your film more than that is detrimental. Whereas in a series, you can dedicate just an episode of a series to a D or a C story with no problems whatsoever. With a film, the more and more you do that, the less tight your narrative gets.
Yeah, and also let me just say, guys, I love the Space Colony arc stuff. Sonic Adventure 2 is my favorite Sonic game. I'm not expecting them to ever do that. And I think if you are expecting them to do that, don't, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I can't imagine they're going to do that. I think what they're going to do is have a series of films that use basic film blueprints and put Sonic and his friends in that. Like they've done with Sonic 1, like what it sounds like for Sonic 2. I think that's all it's going to be. And if they are ever going to do the Space Colony arc and stuff like that, it probably won't connect to Sonic Adventure 2 in that way. It will probably just be a reference.
And then, Wayne, you had a thing you wanted to say.
I will say one thing that does kind of worry me about this franchise. I do not think the series will survive if they go too small scale for too long.
They'll adapt. They'll figure something. Maybe
will they? Either that or the franchise will crash and burn because people stop giving a shit.
You know what I think? Realistically, I think it's going to end at 3. A lot of people are probably hoping for this to be the next MCU. I don't think it will be.
That's what I think, though, is that I don't think Paramount wants to stop at 3. They want to keep printing that.
For now, I reckon what's going to happen is you're going to get 3 movies and then some straight-to-DVD animated films.
Yeah. But this is also the same studio that did the Transformers franchise.
True. But you can't know. I would still say that Transformers is still a bit more tried and tested as far as multimedia goes than Sonic.
That actually is true. It
is true, but it's also too soon to say how the live action films will adapt. Again, I don't see them wanting to keep it too small scale for too long. As soon as they see that they have anything there, they're going to capitalize it. If anything, I think they'll go too big too quick.
I could see them doing that, just having a singularity problem where no movie can be as big as the one that they just did, so nobody cares anymore, as opposed to them just never ramping up to something large enough. Right now, it seems like, at least with the second movie, it seems like they're comfortable just having a city-scale catastrophe. Like that, because that seems to be what's happening in Green Hills. A city-scale catastrophe, which is what would have happened in the first movie had it not been centralized around just a one-on-one conflict with Sonic and Robotnik. This time it's Robotnik just saying, "Nah, fuck the military, fuck everything. I'm gonna blow everything up. Everyone dies. Nobody cares anymore. Like, I don't want to go back to the Mushroom Planet. Fuck you." That seems to be what he's doing this time around.
In a cynical viewpoint, I still feel like Paramount as a studio is just going to take a look at the franchise, and they're going to start pulling books and saying like what exists where, and then they're going to look at the Chaos Emeralds and just see 7 Infinity Stones and run with it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends if they get that far. You want to know what I think is going to happen? And this doesn't even have to be a bad thing.
Yeah,
I think you're going to get 3 live-action movies, and then you're going to get straight-to-DVD animated movies, but they will pull more. They will pull more from the greater lore. And I don't understand why I'm saying no to that. When they first announced a live-action Sonic movie, everyone was saying, no, it should just be all animated. They'll do that on the straight-to-DVD movies.
Well, you say that, but what quality of animation are we talking here? Is it going to be like DreamWorks quality, or are we talking
Prime?
or I'm thinking of like whatever style they're going with for that like Sonic Colors cartoon that...
I wouldn't mind that. I genuinely wouldn't. If the story's good, I wouldn't mind it. Like, let's say, how would you feel if they did Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and they're playing it safe, little blockbusters, and then they do the straight-to-DVD movies with a similar sort of animation style to, I guess, like the Team Sonic Racing Overdrive or something. And they quite faithfully do adapt, like, the Sonic Adventure games and stuff like that. But they're just straight-to-DVD releases. I don't see why anyone should complain. You've got the big screen Sonic, and then you've got your adaptations.
As long as it's a good animation style, I'm all for that. Because I would still kind of prefer it go animated, because I think the live-action setting limits the material by a lot.
It really does. Like, and I think that would be quite a smart way to take it. But of course, if the sequels are successful, then I'm sure they will continue it, and they will keep going, and they will, draw a little more inspiration from the games and stuff. But again, I'm also not saying Paramount would drop Sonic. I'm saying Paramount would produce the film straight to DVD. That is a thing that does happen often.
Now, one thing I did think about, and this is probably worth considering, we don't... if Paramount is using the license for Sonic the Hedgehog, yes. We don't know how much leeway they have over that.
Like,
I mean,
what the Sega mandates might be here.
Apparently, Sega have given them more leeway. Someone in the chat said that Sega have given them a bit more leeway for the second one.
That's more... But we still don't know, like, to what degree. I mean, I still feel like there's going to be certain limitations and certain things that they can and can't do, and certain like, ideas and concepts that they... I mean, for all we know, talking about all the Sonic Adventures stuff, they might not even have the ability to use any of those concepts at all. We simply have, as none of us in here, probably in the chat either, are not affiliated with Paramount Pictures, and we don't know this team or what they're working with. And I'm always skeptical about little statements about, like, here's what they do and don't have access to, because, again, we don't know. Rumors and false information spread around the internet constantly on a daily basis. I know that surprises a lot of you. We just have no idea. And so it's just, I don't know, it's hard to say what they can and can't do at this point.
There is a thing that so Wayne, you mentioned before wanting this to be like another MCU type thing. There is a problem with that.
I kind of want it and I kind of don't.
Well,
I'm also going to say this. I think Sonic's bubble will burst. I'm saying this as someone that would love to have a Sonic movie every couple of years. I'm saying this as someone that would love for them to go on and do all this different stuff. But I think the Sonic movie bubble will burst.
I agree.
A lot of that first movie came down to how much better it was than everybody expected. I don't think the second movie will do as well. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying my estimate right now, that I hope to get proven wrong here, is that the second film will do well, but not as well as the first. And then by the time the third movie comes out, it will start to teeter out a little bit. Maybe they'll do a fourth. Maybe they won't. But for most franchises outside of the MCU, you can't really bank on much more than 3 movies. There's also... no matter the quality, people just get bored of it. Like, look at the actual Sonic games as well. Like, Sonic 1 sold like hotcakes. Sonic 2 sold even better. Sonic 3, it didn't sell that well, you know? And it was no worse than the others. It was actually better, I would say. But just, you know, it's just how audiences are fickle. And the fans will rock up, but the fans aren't enough to sustain it. You need everyone.
Hold on. One sec. You said Sonic 3 didn't sell too well?
It sold okay, but definitely not as well as the other two, as far as I know, anyway.
Well, I mean, remember, Sonic. The reason everybody loves Sonic 2 so damn much is because it was literally packaged with their Sega Genesis systems.
And Sonic 3 sold 1.02 million copies, which for a Genesis era game, getting over 1 million copies is fucking astronomical.
Okay, but it didn't sell as much as the other two, though, did it?
Those games that doesn't count though for those games because they also had pack-ins, which factor into their sales. It's like comparing a game to comparing a game to Wii Sports in terms of sales.
Yeah, okay, you got me there. Yeah,
but what I was trying to say with the MCU thing before, there's one major issue where, as much as I would like to see an MCU type thing with the Sonic or the Sonic series going forward, there's a problem with it, and it's a problem that you don't have. Again, you don't have this problem in comics media as much. You don't have this problem in episodic media as much, but we do encounter this problem very, very strongly in this particular media of movies. It's very hard to have a Sonic movie without Sonic right now, whereas in the MCU, that's an entire universe. You can have an Ant-Man movie that doesn't have Iron Man, despite Iron Man
That's another thing I was going to mention. Like, the MCU draws from a universe of characters. If we were to say it's the Super Smash Brothers universe, sure, but I don't think that's what it is.
Like in a comic setting, this isn't a problem at all, because in a comic setting and even in a series setting, this problem is alleviated by the fact that you can just go, this is the Vector the Crocodile episode. This is the episode where we talk about Team Chaotix, and we're exclusively dealing with Team Chaotix. You can have those asides in those mediums way easier than saying, this is the Team Chaotix movie. As much as I think a Team Chaotix movie in the form of like in the like veneer of a Guardians of the Galaxy movie would be perfect.
So fucking
that would
great.
be so wonderful. But the problem is that because the Sonic series is so centralized on Sonic as a character, you can't do what the Marvel Universe did, where they said, yeah, we may have started off with Iron Man as our pilot, but we can keep on going with or without him as a character for as long as we want, so long as we've got other good characters to build off of. Now, could there be a point where the Sonic series does that? Easy. We could, let's say that a Team Chaotix movie comes out, and let's say that it does what the Guardians of the Galaxy movie did, where like nobody expected it to do well, and then suddenly everybody's like, oh my god, this is amazing. That can be our catalyst to having a Sonic universe that mirrors the MCU, where you can have different production studios taking on different characters and then bringing them together for Adventure 1 style events. Like, okay, we have our Team Chaotix thing where they're dealing with this caper in this case, and it's a super important thing, but it's not as important as dealing with Dark Gaia, but that's going to be our event to bring everybody together. You can do stuff like that once you've established those other characters as marketable lightning rods for their own franchises. Right now, that isn't the case. Would I want it to be the case? Yes. Can it be the case in comics and other media? Absolutely. For a movie, I want that to work. I don't see it working yet, because those other characters don't have the same power that Sonic does marketing-wise.
And that's where I think you were making some really good points, Pup, is that, at the end of the day, it's like Paramount's going to have to make money off this stuff. And, God, you know what I want? I want to see, not in spite of how terrible it would be, but because of how terrible it would be, I would love a film adaptation of of Shadow the Hedgehog.
It would be quite fun if you had one like from like, I don't know, Tim Miller or something.
Oh god, it would be so amazing. Like, go all out, make it a PG-13 movie. Just like,
I mean, like, Tim Miller's already involved in like the Sonic movie and stuff, so like he'd be a great director for a Shadow movie.
Let Shadow say shit.
No, actually, no, hold on. If it's a PG-13 movie, he's allowed one fuck bomb. He's allowed
basically-
one fuck bomb.
So basically, in theory, they can do all this stuff. I think they could do like a Deadpool-esque shadow movie that goes out of its way to be dark to like a comedic extent. And it would be a hugely popular movie. A lot of adults and teens would love the shit out of it. But I think that any film studio is going to be a little bit afraid to go there. And it would take good marketing, really good marketing, to target it to the correct audience. But like, I think there's quite an audience that would be like, here's a Sonic the Hedgehog character, but he's so edgy to the point of parody. People would love it. But like, again, like, I think, as you say, like, a Guardians of the Galaxy style Chaotix movie, again, could work. They just need to know how to market it. But I don't think that studios are going to have that much faith in it.
I don't think that the franchise is positioned in such a way right now where it can. I know the point earlier was brought up about how Shadow the Hedgehog sold well. Do remember, though, that there is a marked difference right now between the position of the franchise, how it is at the moment, versus the position of the franchise, how it was at the time where Shadow the Hedgehog was released as a game. There were a couple factors that went into that game selling well. One, Shadow was a new character that everybody wanted to know more about, and the adventure story and the hero story led people to wanting to know more about that character, period. Two, Sonic had just gone cross-platform. Shadow the Hedgehog was the second cross-platform Sonic series game of all time. For people who first got introduced, like for people who were PlayStation babies, who first got introduced to the Sonic series because of Heroes on their PS2, Shadow the Hedgehog was their sequel. As sad as that is,
Double D.
Shadow the Hedgehog was their sequel. So, like, the franchise was positioned not only in terms of Shadow's popularity at the time, but also just between the way the consoles functioned at that time very differently than how things are right now. Right now, with the right marketing, you could theoretically push any movie to a bunch of people.
The thing is also, I think these are also more realistically as straight to DVD or straight to streaming animated movies, because making a cinematic theatrical release in live action and stuff is a huge financial risk. Huge. I don't think they're going to take that risk, but I think if it's going to happen at all, it will be on a straight to streaming, straight to DVD animated movie.
Yeah, and if we get also there's another point there, is that the Shadow the Hedgehog game was seen as a spin-off game. Like, everybody knew that was a spin-off game. Around the same time, we got Rush and 06 literally the year after. Like, there was barely any time between the release of Shadow and the release of 06. This was seen as something in between by a lot of people who were fans of the series. This was seen as a spin-off. So if we get something with the Chaotix, if we get something with Shadow, I think Pup's right. This is going to... If we get something with them specifically, it's going to be a spin-off thing, and it's going to be a spin-off thing released to streaming services. And you know what? It might be better than anything we get in cinema Sonic-wise, because of the freedoms you get when you do something like that.
It is interesting. I think of the potential of, like, animated Sonic movies, and it just occurred to me, I completely forgot that we're getting a Mario animated film.
I heard about that.
I have so much more faith in anything coming out of a Sonic movie than I do out of the Mario film, and that feels so strange to me.
Are you saying you don't want a return of the monkey?
No, it's worth noting, though. Like, for starters, Mario is coming out of Illumination Entertainment. So
which is part of the reason I have no faith in it.
Yeah, exactly. I think Illumination movies suck. However, they're appropriate for their target audience. So they're recommendable for the babies
their target audience. Their target audience deserves better. Their target audience deserves better. It's not an excuse.
Yeah, but they're gonna like it. So, like, let them have what they enjoy. But anyways,
Toads are going to be the new minions.
The movie's going to be absolutely mediocre at best, because they never aim for anything more than a 5 out of 10 over Illumination. But also, it's going to sell so much better than the Sonic movie, because Illumination Entertainment movies fucking sell, like them or not. Those movies are massive hits. And the thing is, that's not even going to be a straight up translation of the Mario games, because we know that I think Spike Foreman is going to be in it, who was like very much a part of the very old era of Mario. So that's quite a change.
I want there to so the Illumination Mario. I will say this: I want there to be at least a couple references to the old, really terrible Mario movie, just in the background, like just a random picture of one of those giant trench coat Goombas. Something like that, I would be perfectly okay with. Just
my thing with like Nintendo franchises. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. But I'm just kind of thinking of all this like multimedia stuff. When I think of like Nintendo properties branching out into stuff, I used to think I really wanted like a Legend of Zelda series. And the more I think about it, I don't know if that'd be a great idea.
Excuse me, Wayne.
I legitimately actually kind of love that stupid cartoon. But it's just like, I think a part of the success of the Zelda franchise is almost how unmarried it is to the idea of establishing a continuity. It's so fucking scared of committing to a plot. And you can see that with Breath of the Wild, where it's trying to continue its continuity, but it's so fucking scared of it that it has to combine 3 different timelines and converge them back into one, despite the fact that makes 0 sense. It just kind of goes with whatever is safe and marketable and what people will recognize, and just kind of throws it out the wall. Oh, you want Koroks in here in the same like continuity as like the castle from Twilight Princess? Sure. It's all still here. Go for it. It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
The fact that we had Ruto and Zora in the same universe, despite the lore from Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm. And it also, I think at this point, the only Nintendo franchise I actually want like a movie or series from is Metroid, because I think it's the only one that would actually work.
There's an interesting conversation going on here between Toad Poo and Jinx Production. Toad Poo says they just need a Kevin Feige type to oversee it. I nominate Ian Flynn, and then Jinx Production says, yes, make Ian Flynn the overseer of the Sonic film series. Not a horrible idea on paper, but Warner Brothers actually did a very similar thing when they basically wanted to get their own Kevin Feige kind of character. And they were like, okay, we'll get Jeff Johns in from the comic books. He knows these characters and everything like that. So get him in to be our overseer of DC films. And it went down like a cup of cold shit because, the guy doesn't have a knowledge of management of film. Film management and comic management are 2 incredibly different things.
In comics, if you want to do something wacky, you just put the pen to paper. In film, you want to do something wacky, you have to consult an entire animation department.
I wouldn't rule out that he should have a seat at the table, but I wouldn't put him in that kind of position of power, because you do need film professionals working on films, not comic professionals, because it's a completely different management process. And a big problem with the DC films when Jeff Johns was around was total mismanagement.
Yeah.
I think it comes down, like, you don't want Ian Flynn as a manager of the project. You want Ian Flynn as part of your creative team. You want him absolutely. You want him in the spot he's going to shine, which is he's going to be there for storyboarding. He's going to be there for creative direction for the characters. Like, those are the places Ian Flynn shines in. Having him as the manager of a project that is outside of his scope, I agree, Pup. Like, you don't want to have him doing that. You like Ian Flynn because you like the way he handles the characters and lore. So put him in a position where he does exclusively that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's interesting because it's like I see a lot of people a lot of times. It's kind of like you know how when you look at those like fan cast charts where people are just like, hey, I like this person and they kind of look like this character, so let me make my dream casting list of who I want to play as this character and that character. It's like, yeah, it's all great on paper. It's like I saw something the other day where they were just like, oh man, I loved James Gunn's the Suicide Squad. I did too. I want to see him make more movies. I do too. Let him direct Gotham City Sirens. Probably not the best idea. I don't see. It's like just because I love a somebody who helmed a certain property or a particular idea doesn't mean that they're going to be applicable to everything that I want to see adapted.
It doesn't mean that they're a fit for everything. It's like I've said, my dream Sonic movie is an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2 directed by Zack Snyder. Never gonna happen. It would be completely unmarketable. But like, I would love the shit out of it. Although I will say Zack Snyder's probably a better fit for a Sonic 06 adaptation because it's a bit more mythical. But, like,
I don't agree with you on a lot of Zack Snyder shit. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Get Zack Snyder in the director's chair for a Sonic 06 movie.
Yes.
Let him go balls
Like,
to
dude,
the walls.
Go
watch my
nuts.
concept trailer. You need to watch my Zack Snyder Sonic 06 concept trailer because it absolutely proves that it would work.
It would be amazing.
Can I say you're mentioning the casting thing? Do you know who's in my brain is like a good cast for Shadow?
Who?
Especially if you want to have a really hammy Shadow the Hedgehog, get Willem
Ben
Dafoe.
Affleck.
Get
Oh
Willem,
my God.
Get Willem
yes,
Dafoe
please.
as a Shadow.
Willem Dafoe's Shadow.
Okay.
Dude.
Can I throw this out there?
Yes.
There's one character I would rather Willem Dafoe play.
Okay, who?
Mephistopheles.
No, right,
You
let me
want
pick
you want
somebody, right?
Nephilis the Dark done by Willem Dafoe?
Let me pitch
Nephilis
this.
the Dark as Willem
No,
Dafoe.
no, no, no. Mark Hamill as Mephiles
Yes.
and Willem Dafoe as Shadow.
Yep.
And shall we say John Goodman as Dr. Robotnik?
Oh my God, John Goodman is Robotnik. You know, I kind of would love to still see like Mike Pollock in that role and give him some more serious stuff to do. But
Yeah,
at the
same.
same time,
Although,
John Goodman.
If you were to ask me who I would have cast as Dr. Robotnik in like my ideal Sonic movie, it would be Wayne Knight.
Can I just say something? Mike Pollock, he is a little rotund. He could actually fit an Eggman role really easy just by shaving his hair and putting him in a good cosplay. Just have him go completely fucking nuts.
I mean, yeah. Although Wayne Knight would be kind of fun.
Like, if we're talking about like a perfect cast for Sonic movies.
Yeah. This has been fun. I'm enjoying this. This is
Elba
I
as
tell you what,
Zap,
also, if they'd made like a Sonic movie in the 90s, I totally would have cast Michael J. Fox as Sonic.
I
can absolutely say that. Yeah,
Michael J. Fox as Sonic, Wayne Knight as Dr. Robotnik.
that would
Like,
work.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Michael J. Fox.
I have forgotten what stuff Michael J. Fox was famous for, so
Back to the
Marty
Future.
Back to the
McFly.
Future. Okay.
Stuart Little. He was the voice of
Okay.
Stuart.
Actually, bear with me for a second. Michael J. Fox is Sonic, and fucking God damn it! Why can't I remember his name? Why can't I remember his name right now?
Men
You
Never
think of
Know
Christopher
Rain.
Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd as Dr. Robotnik.
Now that's some fanboy casting
see-
right there.
You
No,
see,
cast
Sonic.
him- No. Sonic Adventure 2, the movie. Michael J. Fox as Sonic. Christopher Lloyd as Gerald Robotnik.
Oh,
Ooh.
Wayne Knight as Dr. Robotnik.
Just
Willem Dafoe
imagine
as Shadow.
Christopher Lloyd voicing the fucking the farewell, like the farewell diary from Gerald Robotnik.
that would
Oh,
be
and
amazing.
you know who should play Amy? Melissa Rauch from The Big Bang Theory.
I've seen like maybe one episode of the
Okay,
Big Bang
well,
Theory, and
she's-
I couldn't put myself through more of
Her
that.
character
so
in
I
that
don't know
has
who
a
that
very
is.
mousy sort of voice. You know, she puts on this very high pitched voice, and it works really well. So Melissa Rauch is Amy. Someone said Toad Poo said Margot Robbie as Amy, but I'm gonna say more Margot Robbie as maybe Rouge.
Mm,
When
I
the
don't
space
know.
colony arc reaches 88 miles per hour, the Earth is going to experience some serious shit.
I don't see Margot Robbie as Rouge.
I mean,
well,
just for voice sake here, we're talking, okay?
that's what I'm talking about. I
Okay,
don't
okay.
see that voice. I'm
I
trying
was
to think of an
mainly thinking
actress
for,
that I
like,
can. Yeah.
Clout there. I don't really. I was anyway. Bill Murray as a Chow. Noah Corner says.
Oh my god. Yeah, Bill Murray as a Chow. I'm into it.
Bill Murray as a Chow. They could just have like Bill Murray as Oma Chow.
Wait, no. Ryan Reynolds is Omo Chow.
Actually, yeah, I could do that.
I'd be into that.
Who's Tails though? You need like a young actor for Tails.
Who? You know what? Can we go like do something terrible? Who was the actor behind Anakin in the first movie?
Jake Lloyd.
He
Oh,
hates.
no,
he
the
hates
kid?
that.
Oh, there's a tragic story behind Jake Lloyd. You know that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
I would probably say, okay, if this was a '90s movie, maybe like Jonathan Lipnicki, or whoever played Malcolm in the Middle, or Dewey, just literally any kid actor at the time.
Norman Reedus is SBO. I like that choice.
SBO's not in Sonic Adventure 2. Fucking idiot.
Just we can have.
Think,
dream.
Suris, think.
I know everything you're going to do. Think, Metal. Think.
Just get Frankie Muniz to play Tails.
There it is, Frankie Muniz. There it is, Frankie Muniz as Tails. Knuckles. Who's gonna play Knuckles?
Elijah Wood.
No, I want a black actor for Knuckles.
Okay.
Will Smith.
Will Smith is Knuckles.
Will Smith is Knuckles.
I was thinking Will Smith or shoot. You ever seen Osmosis Jones?
Yes.
Who's calling me?
Who's the lead actor from that? Not Bill Murray. Not the lead animated.
Chris
Rock.
Chris Rock, yeah.
Chris Rock as Knuckles would be the most 90s thing imaginable.
That would be so. His voice for Knuckles would just any amount of serious veneer that I'm supposed to get from Knuckles' character is just gone the minute he opens his mouth.
Also, of course,
you want to learn how to hate Knuckles? Here's how.
And of course,
everybody
Andy
hates
Serkis.
Knuckles.
Andy Serkis doing the mocap for the Biolizard.
He would eat up every second. Him or like
he
Benedict
would.
Cumberbatch. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Benedict Cumberbatch when he was like doing mocap for
he would.
Smaug. Yeah.
I mean, the Biolizard's not quite on the level of Smug, but like, yeah, no, like...
Hey, make him on the level of Smaug. For the love of God, make the Biolizard actually, like, memorable or interesting.
For anything other than having a space colony shoved up his rectum.
He's just a giant, fat space lizard that I don't care about. The only cool thing about him is the boss song when Shadow's fighting him.
Who's the president? Also Bill Murray?
Barack Obama.
Yes.
Barack Obama. Just get Barack Obama.
Literally get Barack Obama
You mean
to be...
the Chaos Emeralds.
Oh, you mean the Chaos Emeralds.
Cream the
Just so
Rabbit
happens
is
I have
in
one right
Sonic Adventure 2, Toad Pooh, think! Toad Pooh, think!
But Cream is in Sonic Adventure 1.
Off in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, Trey Nobles is here. Our boy, my beautiful husband, says, "Hey, beautiful people, I just wanted to throw money your way. Rest in peace, Nick." Thank you, Trey.
Nick's
Have we
not
missed
dead.
any other super chats, by the way?
Nick's not dead. He's been here the whole
We've
time.
got
I think-
$15 from
wait.
Akashoden. We know that.
No, we
Any
did
other-
miss 2 super chats, didn't we?
Oh shit, Suris, find them. Find the 2 super chats,
Find the 2
Suris.
super chats, Suris.
I'm trying to find them. So there is the one from Akashoden. There's no context there. I do not see... I cannot scroll up to see another one. Let me see if I can... Nope, I can't even find it on... I cannot see it. And
Perhaps
it's not even showing in viewer activity either.
Perhaps I can scroll back through the actual live stream and find it.
I just tried that. I
Okay,
tried scrolling-
anyone that sent those super chats, please just repeat your question here and we'll be on the lookout. Just like put in caps, this was a super chat. We're so sorry.
Hi, we're bad at our jobs.
We're really bad at our jobs.
I'm the only one out of all of us that does this full time, and yeah, no, I'm really fucking bad at it. I'm sorry.
Yours is exceptionally bad because you should know better.
I should. Actually, well, Twitch doesn't have super
Actually,
chats,
what I can
so-
do is go look through our monetization records, look for supers.
Gilbert Gottfried is
Here
the
we
bio
go.
lizard.
Here we go.
God. And now Gilbert Godfrey has Omo Chow.
Right, so see,
Hey, Sonic, welcome back.
I found the super chats.
Okay.
So we've got Mr. SP with 10 USD says Nick needs to come back as a zombot. Somebody. So basically, I only get the first sentence of these super chats.
It was so I remember the end part of that super chat. It was somebody quick make fan art of it.
And then we've got our pal Jamal with $5 saying, hi guys, congratulations on both Pup 64.7k and Nick 86. Nick has 86 subscribers. It's not what you wrote, it's just that the sentence cuts off there on the thing. So yeah, congratulations, Nick, on 86 subscribers. How do you feel?
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm not really liking the casual sexism we're getting here. This isn't...
So I do want to throw... I threw pictures into our Discord chat for just a second here. I just want to show what Sonic Forces does to a person, since we can talk about it for at least 5 seconds an episode.
Starting Sonic Forces. And let's finish... Oh, she's sad in the next thumbnail.
You start... The first thumbnail, starting Sonic Forces. The next thumbnail, forcing our way to the end.
Did you know that I bought Sonic Forces 3 times?
Yes. And
yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed.
One of them was actually kind of recent as well.
I bought it once on sale, and I downloaded it for free once because it was on the PSN like monthly thing.
So I got it on PlayStation 4 unsuspectingly when it came out. So I didn't know any better then. I then bought it on PC. So I could have the mods, but it was like on a Steam sale for like £7, so it was like, why not?
There any good mods on PC version?
Yeah, there's some mods that really improve the level design. There's like the Reimagine mods, which fix some of the level design up. It's not perfect, but like it really helps.
Too, aren't there?
There's also like a classic Sonic physics mod, which really helps classic Sonic. There's a mod that adds a chaos boss fight by the Duck Dealer, which is absolutely astonishing. Yeah, but I also bought it on Nintendo Switch quite recently because I feel like it's just the ideal game for on a handheld.
You played that on docked mode yet?
I can't play it on docked mode because I have a fucking
Switch
Lite. I have the Switch
Lite.
Lite.
Okay. Don't.
In docked mode, the frame rate tanks.
Yeah, I've heard,
is
but I literally
unplayable.
I literally only have it on the Switch Lite, so it's like it's the perfect little game for a handheld device. Like,
yeah.
You just sit down, play it quickly, have a little bit of fun. Like, yeah. Nah.
I did kind of feel scorned from dock mode on Forces though. It was like a lot of people were like, "Hey, you're gonna get Colors Ultimate on the Switch?" I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm getting out on the PS4. Like, I want to actually be able to play it."
Oh yeah, no. Like when it comes to third-party games on Switch, the Switch is rarely my first choice of console to put it on. Yeah. I learned that from SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated.
Oh, yeah.
When it first came out on the Switch, it was nigh on unplayable. It was an absolute mess. They fortunately patched a lot of the problems out, but it's still definitely the less desirable method of playing. And as well as that, it took them like 2 months to get the game in an acceptable state.
The Switch is such a strange console because it's like it's got some of my favorite games ever. And it's got some games that I could not possibly be more excited about. Dread has still been the only thing on my brain.
I feel like they've omitted so much fun stuff from like the Nintendo 3DS though. Like, why can't it have things like Street Pass and a fun Mii system? I know it has Miis, but it's much more basic.
My coworker and I were just talking about like home screen themes yesterday.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Where are those?
Why is there not a home screen theme? I get it, they wanted to make it more of a devoted to gaming only thing, but like...
Yeah. But like the Dreamcast theme on the 3DS is like one of my favorite things I've ever paid for.
I've got the Sonic Boom theme on there because it was free.
Nice.
Did you,
yeah, but...
Maro, you are... Sorry, I have to actually answer this one in the chat. Maro's 100% right. We should get Natalie from ContraPoints to be Rouge. It would be perfect. I'm okay with that casting.
From what?
I haven't actually watched ContraPoints, but I'm told that I would like her.
She's a very, very good YouTuber and very entertaining. And her last one was really kind of funny. Like,
I gotta be honest, this might be the first time I'm hearing that name.
Really?
I look, all of my free time goes to like listening to the same stuff that I've heard before. I've watched Steak Bentley's 3.5 hour like Metal Gear Solid 4 rant like 50 times. I continuously listen to like the same things, which apparently is an anxiety thing.
also a
I
depression
don't
thing.
branch out very often. I'm not up in with the hit new YouTubers. I don't know who's popular anymore.
You know a great channel for content that makes you feel at home?
Channel
Channel Pup.
Guys. I was literally just about to say that. Thank you.
I will say this, like the three of you, Channel Pup and Nick are actually like in my comfort category of stuff to watch. But I'm just like, I'm just gonna put this on while I'm cooking food. It's gonna be good.
I should
100%.
like upload again sometime.
Yeah, you should.
Content's been kind of dry. The freaking God, I've just been trying to review A Link to the Past, but I've also had like 3 other projects that I've been trying to work on at once. Shit's hard.
Wayne.
I want to be Vector the Crocodile.
Oh my god.
Wayne!
That computer room!
Wayne, the computer room. It's on fire.
Make a new video in the computer room!
Wayne, I'm
Christ.
going to fuck you.
I think we are at the point where we do need to start wrapping up
Ah!
soon. Oh my god.
I'm
It did not.
coming.
Yeah, it's almost been 2 hours, guys.
Has it really? It did not feel like that long.
Yep.
Nick, any last words?
Why the fuck would you say that, dude?
Yeah, you're really off the mark today, man.
Eh,
Seriously.
God, we're gonna have to have another meeting.
Yeah.
Next time we do one of these, let's not have Nick on it.
I
jeez,
agree.
You get one more chance next time, Nick.
Wow,
that-
first group meeting that isn't related to me. That's awesome.
I know, right?
I feel like this is the end of an arc. Well, anyway,
Space
guys,
colony arc?
we fuck off. I'm trying to do the outro, okay? So yeah, no, Wayne, what are you up to now? So our viewers know where to look. Like your social medias are always like Wayne is boss, aren't they? Like on Twitter and YouTube and all that jazz.
It's pretty often Wayne is boss. I have been trying to stream more, so you can find me on Twitch. I might actually go ahead and get on and play some more Spider-Man Web of Shadows tonight.
Is that on Twitch? Sorry, did you say?
Yeah. So
I'll
I'll
try
be.
and be there. I'll try and be there for that because I would like to see that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no. I'm having a lot of fun going back on some of these Spider-Man games just for kind of casual streaming. I am trying really hard to get A Link to the Past review out. I lost a lot of progress while recording footage, and that just kind of was defeating. And then I was also just juggling too many projects at once, and stacked that on top of work's been pretty stressful lately, and haven't been sleeping great. Sorry, no, it's just been a lot of stuff lately has been really slowing me down, but I'm hoping to get back on the horse soon. October is definitely going to have tons of content. But right now, Link to the Past review, I'm hoping should be out in the next week or 2. So that's what I'm working on.
Get to
Ooh-woo,
fucking
ooh-woo
work,
indeed.
Wayne.
Okay.
While Wayne is struggling with juggling things, Suris, how are you jiggling things?
Well,
Hold on.
We recently had a poll over whether or not people enjoyed the bikini, regular, or the maid outfit the most over on my Twitch.
I'm gonna go ahead and put a vote in for maid outfit.
The
What-
maid
what
outfit
won?
actually won. The maid outfit
Oh,
won.
nice.
I was kind of surprised that the maid outfit won, but apparently it did. So,
It very much carves a good figure in a very much a subtle kind of a way, I would say.
but past that, we've been doing. So we've actually been doing over on my Twitch a lot of Pokemon Unite. So Twitch is at NekoSuris. That's the same thing for my YouTube channel where I talk about game stuff. It's just Suris if you want to hear me talking about real world stuff that makes you really depressed. But what I've been doing is like in between covering my usual topics, I just do like 3 to 4 quick rounds of Pokemon Unite. And I'm gonna be honest, it's been really fun, and having fights with people over whether or not that game's pay to win. Spoiler alert, it is, and it's very predatory and it's bad. But having those fights has been very cathartic because fighting over video games is much more fun than fighting over real life issues that actually affect people's lives.
Well, shit. That sounds like there's a lot going on there. In Nick's case, you can catch him over on Game Apologist on YouTube, and I think same goes for Twitter, doesn't it? He's also got
Yes, and
He's also
he
got a
actually.
Twitch- Sorry. Go on, Wayne.
I was gonna say, he actually just uploaded his final Sonic speed reading on the conclusion and the wrap up of, or I guess aftermath rather, of the Metal Virus arc
I'm
in
glad
the
he's
IDW
finished the
Sonic.
Metal Virus arc for the 3rd time.
I did watch it. Very fun episode. I liked it a lot, and he got to share his thoughts on just kind of reflecting back on the series. Definitely a good listen. If you want to go ahead and give that a watch, definitely recommend.
All right, and he's also got a Twitch where he occasionally streams. He's kind of just getting started up, but be sure to check that out as well. And then there is me, and basically, I'm Channel Pup on pretty much all of my social media piggies, be it Twitter or YouTube. And on the YouTube end of things, I'm currently on the home stretch of my Sonic handheld series. Well, home stretch as far as Nintendo DS, 3DS exclusives go. I think we've got 2 more games to go. The last one that was uploaded was Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal. The next one will be Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, but also we will be looking at Sonic Chronicles as well. So yeah, that's me done, and I also post all kinds of cursed shit on Twitter. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you know where to go. Well, that's it for today, guys. The sun is setting on Sunset City, so until the next time, fuck off.